And Garbage Time Fantasy Football, we got our Week 9 preview. It's time for Garbage Time.
Fixing your headset over there, buddy?
Welcome into Garbage Time Fantasy Football. My thing was a little slower than yours, I believe, but this is Garbage Time Fantasy Football for a reason.
What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. I am your host, Ron, joined today by Joe. The other two guys are taking the day off. And we are holding it down with, well, the top two hosts, really.
Yeah, pretty much. At least the ones that are at least the two New York fans, even though they both play in Jersey, but the one in green and white's playing tonight.
All right, on today's show, we are going to highlight some games from the Week 9 matchups coming up this weekend. We're going to get you the news. We got our DFS lineups, and we got the Defensive Dominator.
And Ron, where can you find us if you want to actually listen to this heckling fandom of a show?
Well, you're going to find us right here on YouTube at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. You're going to you're going to subscribe. Do it. You're going to find us on Twitter at garbage_time FF. You're going to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Simplecast.
Every damn place you can
everywhere.
Think of.
Just go to our website at www.garbagetimeff.com. There are links to all of the spots there, and you can leave us voicemails.
That's right. And do not save the drama for your mama. We love the drama here, so put them in a voicemail for us.
So much drama. All right. With all that, let's get into the news.
Got into the news.
News updates.
All right, there is absolutely no doubt this is an upstate New York podcast, so let's get into it with that bit of note. So Christian McCaffrey ended up practicing today, Ron. Do you think he's actually going to get in and play this weekend? It's 2 days in a row.
I don't know. I mean, do they want to risk him with just a couple limited practices, or do they want to give him one more week? I mean, that's I'm not picking the winner of that game until I know. I know that for sure.
Yeah, you'll be picking the winner of that game after we've done it. You're just going to I'm going to slide right into that. Just quick.
If Christian McCaffrey plays, Carolina's going to win.
Mm-hmm. Does their backup have any value if Christian McCaffrey plays, or are you just setting him right to the bench?
Right to the bench.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Now, in a little bit of more depressing news, CeeDee Lamb came up with an injury today. It's questionable. What the hell is going on there?
I don't know. Twisted his ankle at practice. What was it? Yesterday, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and hasn't been practicing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's a monitor.
That is a monitor, and I believe they have another wide receiver coming back this week too. So
Michael Gallup, he's still technically on the IR.
I think he's going to play, from what I'm hearing. I think he's going to get in, and if not, they got Wilson there too, a wide receiver. So yeah. I don't think they're afraid. That's right. I don't think they're afraid to rest him if they need to.
They definitely have the weapons.
They definitely have the weapons. The offense is much more balanced than it used to be. So I think if they need to rest CeeDee Lamb, they will. They don't want to risk him because somehow the Cowboys have Super Bowl aspirations this year. I don't think that'll last, but we'll see.
Well, plus they're playing the Broncos, so they don't need their full arsenal against the Broncos.
No, they don't. So moving on to another story here. Elijah Mitchell also came on the injury report. And something I want to preface here is if Elijah Mitchell doesn't go this weekend, that makes Jermichael Hasty, I think, a very good value for this week. And he's actually a pretty good value in DFS already too. So keep an eye on that. Do you have any thoughts on this injury or anybody else that may replace him should he not play?
I feel like Mitchell's going to play. It was a rib injury, chest injury. I'm pretty sure he'll put on a flak jacket and he'll probably go.
He'll throw on a raincoat and be ready to play.
Oh, yeah.
No innuendo.
Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell with his raincoat. All right.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. So on to our next little bit of news. As you guys can see in the thumbnail right on the front of our Garbage Time Fantasy Football, according to JJ, our Bears fan, Aaron Rodgers is a liar. And because he's a liar, he's going to be out due to COVID this upcoming weekend because it's going to be 10 days and he's not vaccinated. There's a strong potential he could end up being out next week too. What is this going to do to the Packers team and specifically, Ron, to the wide receivers on this roster, Allen Lazard and DeAndre Hop and the other guy.
Davante Adams?
Yes.
Well, what concerns me more is Davante Adams also hasn't been able to practice most of the week. I think today was his first day he was able to practice.
That's correct.
So he hasn't had the full week of practice with Jordan Love. And it's Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love was a first-round draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if he should have been.
Do you think the Packers can be a love machine with him?
Stop it. That was stupid.
Nice.
I know I'm smiling, but that was stupid.
You like the raincoat joke better?
Oh my goodness.
I'm just
so. Anyways, I guess my question is Jordan Love? Is there any format for fantasy football that you would play Jordan Love in?
Yeah, I would consider him in 2 quarterback format because he's going to be playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, who have had a very shaky offense the last few weeks. They're still the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's potential for that to turn into a shootout. And he's got a wide receiving core that'll make any quarterback look better, I think, even with Aaron Rodgers out. So I think he's a decent play, and I think he'll finish somewhere between the 13 to 15 range for quarterbacks. So streamer potential, good play in 2 quarterback format, super flex.
I feel like he just needs to go out and hyper target Davante Adams.
Yeah, that might not be a horrible idea.
You know what I mean? Just go. The Chiefs secondary isn't very good. Their whole defense has been playing like garbage.
Like garbage.
I mean, they almost lost to the Giants. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So anything else you want to cover about that before I move on to the next bit of news?
No.
All right. Sam Darnold is also remaining in concussion protocol, which I don't think is really concerning at all for this Panthers offense because I don't think it matters who's going to play quarterback in that position for them. I think they all are either valuable or not. So if Christian McCaffrey comes back, running back backup goes right back to the bench. I believe DJ Moore is valuable no matter what and no matter who plays quarterback because he has proven himself to be a wide receiver 1 this season. Robbie Anderson is kind of a little bit interesting, specifically if Sam Darnold were to play, though, because DJ Moore is the number 1 target for the Panthers, and they're going up against the Patriots, and the Patriots have a propensity to shut down the number 1 wide receiver or target for whoever's on the other side of the ball. If Christian McCaffrey plays, I think they'll look to shut him down, but if not, the person they're going to look to shut down is DJ Moore, and if they do, Robbie Anderson could sneak in and have a good week. Finally, after 9 weeks in the NFL this year. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, though.
I wouldn't take the risk on pretty much anybody. If you could afford to bench DJ Moore, I would.
Would you consider playing Robbie Anderson in DFS for a price of $4,500?
I wouldn't. No, I don't think he does anything.
All right, so going from one player to another, we'll talk about Russell Gage now, who is expected to play, and Kenny Golladay is about a coin flip also. So are you excited about either one of these wide receivers this week? Because I know that you were a big fan of him on Tuesday.
Russell Gage?
Well, yeah, Russell Gage specifically.
Russell Gage, I mean, could very well have a very good game. There's no one else there. Tajay, get out of here with your Tajay Sharp nonsense.
Someone in our league picked him up, so obviously someone's listening.
Yeah. Listen,
Tajay Sharp
but
the bigger
Kenny
game.
Golladay could actually be an all right play, but I think Kadarius Toney is going to be the better play from the Giants wide receiver core. So
as long as that gash in his hand doesn't bother him,
no, he's fine.
We shall see, sir. Also, speaking of wide receivers, Julio Jones practiced for his 2nd day in a row, so it appears that he is going to play, and that's going to be interesting because I think they're going to redevelop this whole offense around them because in coach speak during the press conference, they said, oh, no, we're going to definitely continue to run the ball. Why would we change the formula of our offense? Coaches do this kind of stuff all the time to throw smoke screens, and The strength of this team right now is the wide receiving core. And I think Julio is going to be a big proponent of that because I think Tannehill is going to be throwing the ball a lot more. So I think Julio could actually be a decent play this week. So I think you should really consider him if he's been on your bench the last few weeks because he hasn't been scoring well. So watch that, see his activity in the offense, and consider putting him into your lineup this week as a wide receiver 3 with much more upside. I don't know what your thoughts are on Julio. I know you were a big fan of him last year, and I was not. But my tune has changed this year, and I think he can actually be a good part of this offense going forward.
I mean, he's a good receiver, but just because he's practicing, I mean, he has a tendency to pull hamstrings and stuff every once in a while.
Doesn't seem to need to practice to play well, though, in the past anyway. This year's a little bit of an anomaly.
Yeah, I mean, this is his first year in this offense, so it could be different.
Could be. I don't know if it will be.
It's hard.
Yeah, Julio's a little bit of an anomaly this year. All right, so something else interesting, too, going on with the Bears, and JJ will like this little bit of notes. The Chicago Times report that there is hope that David Montgomery will actually get snaps on Monday night. They think, he's the gummy bear running back that seems to be able to not go down for an entire season. What this means, though, is if he actually does get some snaps here, I think that's going to unfortunately put Khalil Herbert back to your bench. If they're splitting snaps there, I think they're going to just have a running back by committee for the 1 week, and then David Montgomery will go back into his workhorse role after that. What's your thoughts on this Chicago backfield for Monday night?
No, I 100% agree with you. If Montgomery's in there, Herbert is a difficult play. Not saying he couldn't still be a good running back too. He'll probably get the passing down work, and they might want to ease. Well, they have the luxury now with Herbert's presence to ease David Montgomery back in. So this week he still might be a solid RB2, even if Montgomery plays.
I think he's going to revert to a Uranus Johnson role, which is what we saw with Cleveland last week, where Nick Chubb came back, and obviously he was the dominant runner in that offense. And like you said, he was getting the passing work back there too. So I think he falls more into a flex role should they decide to split them. But I think David Montgomery is the golden child there in Chicago. I think he's going to take the bell cow role. Although I believe Herbert is somebody you want to hang to onto your bench should he end up getting hurt again, because you come back from injury, typically a lot of these guys will get hurt again real quick too. So I think hang on to Herbert even if he doesn't do anything next Monday and you put him on the bench.
Yeah.
And in my last little bit of news, unless you have something else for us, Tyrod Taylor was announced to be the starting quarterback against the Dolphins this week. Are you interested in him as a fill-in should your quarterback be on bye?
If you are in a 2 QB league and your quarterback's on a bye or injured or you're having an issue somewhere, you could do worse than putting Tyrod in. But if you can get away from it, I would start Mike White tonight over Tyrod Taylor.
That's right, guys. Get Mike White in your lineups. I'm not speaking just from my heart because I'm a Jets fan.
He is totally just speaking from his heart.
I am, but watch
100%.
him put up 302 TDs tonight, and then me, telling I don't need Zach Wilson. I want Mike White to be the starter.
Goodness. Let's trade Zach Wilson away.
No. I don't foresee that happening, but I'm going to root for my boy tonight because he just has the aura. He has the aura of a New York Jet, man. So
hold on. Let me ask you this question. I know this is not really off topic, but
no, it's not. It's fantasy relevant for tonight, and there's some people watching.
Well, this isn't about fantasy. So Mike White comes out, wins tonight.
Yes.
They decide we're going to let Zach Wilson, really ease back from this injury.
That's what I would do.
And Mike White plays the rest of the season, and they don't win out, but they're competitive in every game they lose.
Yep.
And they win quite a few games. Why wouldn't you try to get something for Zach Wilson? If you think Mike White could legitimately be your franchise QB, he's still young.
You're right.
And you could capitalize on Zach Wilson.
Let me tell you why that's not going to happen. One, you drafted him with the second overall pick. What you do is if he ends up playing the rest of the season because for some reason he's absolutely insane the rest of the season, you have a quarterback competition going into next year because you have two guys that can play. When the hell have the Jets ever had two guys that can play? And as you've seen in our history, whenever our starter's gone down, we've been an absolute train wreck except for this point because we have control of Mike White after this year too as a restricted free agent. I think this is him going into his 4th year, so we can still have him cheap as a restricted free agent, and we have Zach Wilson cheap for the next 3 years. I think you do the quarterback competition, and should Zach Wilson, this is way down the line. I do not foresee this happening, and Zach Wilson doesn't win the job, then you potentially maybe look to flip him in a year or two after that. But I've seen Zach Wilson throw passes. He can throw anything on the field there too. Ultimately, I think he's a long-term starter there, but he's also a rookie right now. He needs time to season because he makes throws that not even Mike White can make. Mike White is proficient, as we saw last week. And should he stink it up tonight, at least we know we have a decent backup that can come in and fill in. But I think it's a good outlook for both of these guys. They're just going to make each other better given the competition.
I just feel like if Mike White plays well, then next year, if you have that quarterback competition, and say Zach Wilson wins it, anytime Zach Wilson starts messing up, people are going to be calling for Mike White.
It's all right.
Mike White, yada, yada, yada.
He'll be our Nick Foles.
And then on the inverse, if Mike White wins that and you guys start trying to trade Zach Wilson, you're not going to get the value for him because, well, he couldn't even beat out Mike White. So
that depends on what he does the rest of the year, and that starts tonight.
Look what happened to Sam Darnold.
Yeah. We got a second-round pick for him because our GM's pretty good at making trades in the least. Don't know about all the other proponents of the team, but he's at least good at making trades.
I think if you get a guy that's going to win you games and make you competitive, you stick with that guy.
Oh, yeah. We have to play the hot hand right now. And if we win again tonight, Mike White is the starter going in against Buffalo. And honestly, I would consider playing him against Buffalo anyway, because I don't want Zach Wilson to come back from an injury and just have a bad game and then be reserved in himself. I think Mike White is going to start the next 2 games regardless of what happens because they want to ease him in and put him up against an easier opponent because the rookie needs the reps. He needs to understand what's going on in this offense, and Mike White can show him what is going on in this offense. And keep the damn offensive coordinator up in the booth because something changed last time where he could see the plays better, and that offense just clicked better. So let him do his thing and play chess from the booth. We do not need him on the field.
All right, let's get into the picks of the week.
Let's do it. All right, so the game picks of the week that we're running with this week. We do 5 games. 4 of them are pre-scheduled, and then we all pick a wild card game. So the one that we are going with here is the Patriots and Panthers. I picked the Patriots to win this game, and the fantasy relevant aspects of this game. Obviously, we've already covered this. Is Christian McCaffrey actually going to play? And what is your belief on that, Ron?
Like I said, I still don't know. I think they have a bye next week.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say is the Panther. Oh no, their bye week's not until week 13 or something like that.
What the hell are you smoking?
I don't know. For some reason, I thought week 10. I don't know why.
Okay, and just quickly then, we've already went over this. So the wide receivers for the Panthers, how do you feel about them?
Yeah, it's a full bench if you can.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, and on that too, can Damien Harris have a good game against this Panthers front 7, which has been pretty good this season? And do you have any interest in any of the running backs behind him?
No, none behind him. I tried Brandon Bolden twice, and he boned me.
Effectively boned you?
He effectively boned me. I'm not going to trust anyone outside of Damien Harris.
All right. And how do you feel about Mac Jones going into this week?
I don't know.
So what I'm gathering from this is you really don't see this as a very fantasy relevant game this week.
Jacoby Myers, PPR machine.
Mm-hmm.
The tight ends one of them will probably get a touchdown.
All right. Now, which one will that be for our Heckling Fandom?
I don't know. It's impossible to know. They're both very talented.
So what I'm gathering from this then is you would look elsewhere if you weren't going to go with one of these tight ends.
Yeah. I would hope to have a better option.
Maybe a Dan Arnold, can I say?
I like Dan Arnold. He was very targeted the last time the Jaguars played.
If you were looking to shift off these guys, who else would you look at too? I mean, Pat Fryermuth, but is there any like less obvious answers in case these guys are already picked up?
Well, I wouldn't call Fryermuth obvious answer, but yes, I would take him. Let's see. I'm scrolling through teams right here. Maybe Jack Conklin from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, actually, I do like him this week.
Check and see if CJ Uzama is still out there.
I mean, he's only 2 weeks removed from a 2-touchdown game, and they seem to be getting him more involved in the offense. So I think CJ Uzama is a good play.
Week. And then, of course, your normal people when it comes to also, who's the tight end for the Green Bay Packers right now?
Now that Robert Tonyan's out?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I wouldn't play them because it's going to be Jordan Love throwing the ball there.
Well, that's my point. I mean, I know he's not a rookie, but he's essentially a rookie. So, I mean, it might be a lot of dump offs to Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, or a tight end.
No, that'll just be Davante Adams. Even without the practice.
Yeah, no,
he's going to get targeted 20 times this week.
This game doesn't have a lot of fantasy relevance, I don't think.
Are you saying I picked a shitty game for fantasy relevance? But the people need to know.
No, I was going to say, I think it's a good game to pick just so the viewers know that it's not that going to be that great for fantasy.
And if Sam Darnold somehow clears protocol, do not play him this week. Although you should have known for the last week, you do not play Sam Darnold if you can avoid it, especially in super flex leagues too.
My only thing is the 3 games that Christian McCaffrey played, Sam Darnold was amazing.
Yeah, well, he's got to play. And from what you're saying over there, you don't think he will. But I do think I think he's actually going to play this weekend.
Maybe. I don't know.
We shall see.
We shall see.
Any other thoughts on this game, Ron, before we move on to the next one?
No, let's move on to the next one.
All right, so the next one I want to talk about. Actually, I'm going to let you pick. Would you rather talk about the Vikings, the Ravens next, or the Browns and Bengals?
Let's go Browns and Bengals.
You're making me skip down the list. I see what you did there. All right.
It's second on my list because I wrote them down in the order that I remembered you telling me.
Yeah, right. All right, so the big question here is with Odell Beckham being out, what is this offense going to look like, and is it going to run through Nick Chubb and Uranus Johnson?
It always runs through the running game. Like I said last week, that's the only part of the Browns offense that I'm going to trust. Maybe a shot at one of their tight ends, but they have a few of them. So
I say avoid them at all costs in this game.
Yeah.
So with that thought too, is Uranus Johnson a flex play this week if you need one?
I think so. I think they're going to utilize the 2 running back role like they always have, and just Uranus Johnson is going to be that Kareem Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think he's definitely a viable play in the flex. Definitely. He has RB2 upside.
So these Bengals-Browns game have this weird phenomaly of turning into very high-scoring fantasy games over the last few seasons.
I think you mean anomaly.
Anomaly. Yeah, like I said, upstate jargon again. I went with so we'll go with anomaly for 500. Do you think Jarvis Landry has the potential of being a top 15 wide receiver this week? A sneaky play to be a top 15 wide receiver? I understand coming off injury, but he is going to be the wide receiver they're going to run through with playing in this offense. He is the safety net. Do you think he could reach that level?
Maybe in a PPR format.
Mm-hmm.
He could, but I don't think outside of a PPR that he will have a fantasy relevant game.
Our additional podcaster is taking time off, happens to listeners, so he can take notes on what he's going to talk shit on next week. JJ says Ron is poisoning the listeners with the Uranus Johnson talk.
I wouldn't call it praise. I was just say, fantasy talk about it. Not sitting here saying this guy's Christian McCaffrey or anything.
I don't know. Maybe you think he is.
Did Uranus Johnson not finish with a touchdown last week?
I mean, he did, but he still wasn't very fantasy relevant. Even with that touchdown, it was like 8 or 9 points. It just
that's flex worthy with upside.
Yeah, I guess. All right. something else about this too. So I think Jarvis Landry is actually going to have an exceptional game this week too. And you saw that the secondary of the Bengals is very weak. And the Jets actually took advantage of that last week with Mike White. So I think he could actually have a good game even with Baker Mayfield being there. But Baker Mayfield likes to throw to him. There's no other receivers that are going to be viable for them. So I could see him maybe having 115 yards and maybe a touchdown. I think he's going to be pretty good this week.
He could come
up. Even coming off the injury. All right, so with that, let's talk about the other side of the ball here with the Bengals. Do you think Joe Mixon could potentially have another 100-yard game? He seems to get a lot of volume, but not be highly efficient. He does get into the end zone, but his yards per game aren't very good and haven't been the last few weeks. What's saving him is he's getting passing work too.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a solid start. He's saved a couple weeks with touchdowns, but that's fine with fantasy. He's definitely a running back too, at least. Definitely
he's a one. He's a one. Just on volume.
The past couple of weeks, I think he's only finished as a 2. I think.
Hey, Edward Davis is in the chat. Edward, I knew you were a smart guy, and I'm glad you listened to me. I'm glad you're starting Landry this week because I think he's going to have a good game too. So welcome back to the chat tonight. And where's your voicemail? I didn't see it there.
No, we got to wait for the Jets to lose, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I'll be getting the voicemail after tonight because I'm all hyped up for the game. So we'll have the voicemail to play on Monday for it, hopefully, if he doesn't forget or just decides our show sucks.
If he hasn't decided that, he's not going to figure it out. All right,
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, definitely a start every week. Definitely has week winning upside.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he should have a decent game.
Okay, who's got more flexibility in the flex spot, Samaje Perine or Uranus Johnson?
I'd probably say Uranus, just because the Bengals have way more receiving options.
It's true.
Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, CJ Uzama, like the Browns really only have Landry.
JJ would like to also ask Mike White or Jalen Hurts tonight. JJ, you obviously know it's Mike White.
Are we gonna finish? Are we talking about like QBR on the week or fantasy finish?
Because I say Mike White. He was the number one last week, and I would start him. Go with your heart, JJ. You know you want to start Mike White because Mike White. Start Mike White because it's going to excite the shit out of you tonight. So
Jalen Hurts has been a QB1 for fantasy every single week outside of last week.
Ride the depression roller coaster with me and start Mike White tonight. Believe in your soul, he's going to have a good game.
Hold on, is JJ playing me? If you're playing me, the answer is Mike White. Hold on.
I hope he changes it to Mike White, and Mike White has 40 points again like he did last week.
No, he's not playing. He's not playing me. It's fine. No, definitely Jalen Hurts, bud.
Okay, so onto the wide receiver for these Bengals. Is there any way the Browns can stop Jamar Chase? I understand they have a good secondary, or do you think Jamar Chase is just going to do Jamar Chase kind of things and have another 100-yard game?
You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
And what does that look like for our fantasy football players?
That looks like you're still going to have an okay week from Jamar Chase regardless. Last week when they were playing the Jets, which should have been a smash matchup, and he had one of his worst games of the year.
It's true.
He still had a really good game.
He still broke one for 70 yards. So
right, exactly.
What's that got to tell you? I think he's a smash play this week. I think he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver on the week, even with that good Brown secondary.
He's a smash play every week.
All right, Higgins or Boyd. Who else is valuable?
Higgins has been getting more involved. I don't know. It's kind of hard between those two because it seems like it's been going back and forth. And honestly, it seems like it's been going a lot of CJ Uzama's way.
Yeah, who I think is also a good play this week. And we already mentioned that early on the show. So if you're needing to play someone this week, Freiermuth, Uzama, both decent options. Dan Arnold. I think there's a lot of good back-end tight ends this year, unlike there was last year. There's a lot of playable guys this year, which is pretty interesting. It just goes to show you fantasy football is different every single year.
When you're picking a tight end, you either go for volume or you go for touchdown opportunity. Dan Arnold is going to get you the volume. CJ Uzama is going to get you the touchdown opportunity.
Yeah, so if there's a premium on possessions in your league, I think Dan Arnold's a better play. But if you're looking for that touchdown, Uzama, the big boy, is your play this week, which is funny because he's broken out of the mold of the last few years of just having that one or two good games, and he's actually a dominant part of this offense now. So let's hope he doesn't go back into the shell because he's a fun player to watch. You have any other thoughts on any other players in this game, Ron? A Donovan People-Jones or anything?
No,
nothing.
Nothing.
Any other Bengals players that are going to surprise the shit out of us?
Nope.
All right, so with that, we will move on to the Vikings and Ravens. You feeling good about that?
Let's go Lamar.
Yeah, is there any chance the Vikings can slow him down this week?
No. I mean, they could slow him down, but he's still, a smash start.
He's still a top 5 QB on the week, I think, regardless. I think this is going to be actually a very high-scoring game.
I hope so.
Do you believe Justin Jefferson is going to be a top 10 wide receiver on the week?
I know Justin Jefferson hasn't been having a great year. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bad year, but compared to what people were projecting for him, he's haven't been doing that great.
I mean, his teammate on the other side is wide receiver in the senior home is the 11th quarterback on the year just for the reason he seems to get touchdowns and nothing else.
Yeah. I know someone, I can't remember where I was listening to it, but someone somewhere was in the off season, like warned people and told them, be cautious when you're drafting Justin Jefferson in like the second round, because the chances of him having the same year that he had last year or even comparable are kind of, probably kind of low.
Are you saying we should be worried about Jamar Chase next year?
It's possible.
I see a pattern.
I'm just saying, someone on some fantasy football podcast warned against it. Just to be careful with Justin Jefferson. I'm not gonna say who it was.
Okay, and what's the name of the guy in the senior home on the other side? Age
Adam
31?
Thielen?
Yeah, Adam Thielen. So can he keep up the volume that he's been doing? Is he going to score a touchdown this week?
Justin Jefferson right now is the wide receiver 21 on the year, which is okay for a wide receiver 2, almost 3.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if you told me I was going to draft the wide receiver 21 in the second round.
That's disappointing.
I would wish someone would have just, told me to ease up on my expectations.
Which was hard to believe because I was riding high on Justin Jefferson. I think I predicted him to be a top 5 wide receiver. I think he was number 4 on my list, if I remember right, before the season started.
Someone put him in their bust category strictly on them being drafted in the second round.
It looks like a smart play up at this point, but I
don't know who it was.
So I think he's really going to rebound, though, and I think we'll see Thielen's numbers go down. On top of that, I think Thielen will be traded in the offseason too, and KJ Osborne will take over on the other side or play from the slot. But regardless, they're going to trade him out. So we shall see. All right, so let's talk about some more players in this game too. Like I mentioned, KJ Osborne, interested at all or nah?
Nope.
So you heard that, folks. Bench KJ Osborne this week or leave him on waivers no matter where he is.
I was going to say, he's still on people's teams?
Some people's teams. Deep leagues.
It better be a deep league.
Or a dynasty league.
Nope. It better be a deep. Oh, okay, if he's on their team, yeah.
On a dynasty? In a dynasty league?
He's on the bench.
He's great on dynasty benches. He's someone with a lot of upside, and he could potentially be the other starting wide receiver for them next year. I very much would put him on my dynasty bench. Yeah, all right, so for the wide receiving core of the Ravens, who's going to have the bigger week here? Is it going to be Hollywood Brown or the flavor of the month, Rashad Bateman?
That's a hard one. I mean, I feel like Rashad Bateman's going to be more the possession guy. And Marquise Hollywood Brown's going to be that guy he was, which is the deep threat, big play, take the slant 60 yards for a touchdown type guy.
So again, who's going to have the bigger week against the Vikings?
I don't know. This
is a fantasy football show where you answer questions, Ron.
It's the fantasy football show, but
we'll
my
give
answer
a damn
is
prediction.
You can start them both.
Okay, but who has the better numbers this week?
I don't know.
You sound like a politician right now. Answer the damn question.
You answer the question.
It's going to be Hollywood Brown.
You're just saying that because he's on your team, though, and you're just you're just
He's a top 7 wide receiver on the year. It's going to be Hollywood Brown.
Will it into truth.
No, I'm just going off the patterns of this year, doing my simple Joe math over here, and Hollywood Brown's going to have the better week.
Oh, man, we still got to get that Joe math clip in here.
Oh, there'll definitely be one. It'll be some Family Guy clip or like Homer Simpson pointing at like a board or something, or Peter Griffin, some shit like that JJ will come up with.
Oh, so great.
All right. And
seriously, though, you said you think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I really think that both those wide receivers could have a good week.
Yeah, they're definitely both playable. And I see Brashad Bateman more as a wide receiver 3 on the week, and Hollywood Brown's going to be a wide receiver 1 again. Now, let's talk about the number 1 tight end on the year, Mark Andrews. What kind of a game is he going to have? That's right. You heard that right. Wide receiver 1 on the year.
Tight end 1.
Tight end 1.
He made it up to tight end 1. I know that was
plays like wide receiver
for a while.
Yeah, well,
I can't remember.
It's not him anymore. Well, the number 1 on the year before him was Travis Kelce, so now it's Mark Andrews. Yeah, Travis Kelce's number 2 currently.
I feel like it was someone else a few weeks ago. But
no, Knox is number 3 right now. Kelce's 2.
Knox
Mark
was
Andrews
number
is
1, I think, before he got injured.
Yes.
Okay, that's what it was. Because I knew it was someone that was like completely out of left field.
He's 3.
Was number 1, yeah.
Now he's 3.
So yeah, Mark Andrews, definitely play him. I mean, he's Lamar Jackson's favorite target. I know in the beginning of the year, for some reason, it wasn't there, and then right after Joe traded for him, they decided, oh yeah, that's right. We really like it when we play football together. So
I really am like 6 for 6 on my trades this year. It's been pretty impressive. That's not usually my luck. Usually I trade someone away and then that person goes off. So
my trades are doing pretty good this year so far.
Yeah, I'd be in a completely different place if I didn't make all these trades. So Thank you, league mates, for making these awesome trades for me.
Hey, if you started off slow, you need to. Like, I traded away Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley and Calvin Ridley on one team a few weeks ago.
That's true.
And it was before Christian McCaffrey got put on IR. Obviously, before Calvin Ridley decided he was going to walk away for a while. And my team has been playing much better since doing those things.
All right. How's Kirk Cousins going to do this week?
He should be all right. Probably a low-end quarterback 1.
I'm seeing him like I'm feeling 250, 2 or 3 touchdown kind of game for him.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to try to run the offense through Dalvin Cook, who I think they're going to try to get established for the second half of the season. Dalvin Cook's a few weeks removed from an injury now, and this offense clicks very well when Dalvin Cook is playing his best. And I think you're going to see him run into that top 10 running back of the week again, finally. I think he's going to take off the second half of the season because he's been a disappointment up to this point in the year. Not totally bad, but for where you drafted him, definitely disappointing.
Yeah.
So start him with confidence. Running backs for the Ravens. You touching anything here?
No. I think until Latavius Murray comes back, which I don't think he's back yet.
He is not.
Yeah, so until Latavius Murray comes back, I think no one's really touchable.
Don't touch him, guys. Don't touch him.
Can't touch us. No. Yeah, that's it.
No other thoughts about this game?
No, you just start all your normal people. No reason to get all fancy on this one.
Don't throw out your fancy dancy notebook.
Nope.
All right, so let's move on to another game now, too. Titans and Rams. Now, are both Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp going to be top 12 finishers this week, going up against a very bad Titans secondary?
No, I don't think so.
I do. I think both of them are going to finish in the top 12.
The second one wrong.
Explain.
I think it's going to be Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson.
Now that's interesting. Explain that a little bit more.
I think Van Jefferson is going to get 2 to 3 deep shots in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think is connected on most of them. You might see a stat line, something like 2 for 120 and a touchdown. You know what I mean?
So you're seeing him as a good play in late night DFS games then, and as a potential wide receiver 2 on the week.
Yeah. I really think Van Jefferson could have a good game. They got rid of Deshaun Jackson, which means more targets potentially for Van Jefferson. Obviously Cooper Kupp is going to be Cooper Kupp this year because that's all he's been doing is being crazy.
He came out of nowhere this season.
Yeah,
just incredible what he did. Don't get me wrong. He had solid seasons where he was falling between that 15 to 20 range, just like Robert Woods was last year, but he's elevated his game since Stafford's gotten there.
Yeah, Stafford really unlocked him. But I do believe Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson could finish definitely top 15. I think they both finished top 15 wide receivers.
Where's Robert Woods fall this week then?
Probably somewhere between the 20-25 range.
So you think they're all going to be viable this week then?
I really do.
Do you think they're going to absolutely torch it all around the field?
Like you said, the Titans secondary isn't very good. I know they've put up a really good game against the Chiefs and held Patrick Mahomes to no touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chiefs are not playing good football right now on offense or defense. Honestly.
Okay.
So, and they don't have the weapons that I know they have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, but that's it.
All right. And how do you feel about the tight end situation for the Rams? Tyler Higbee.
Probably one of the biggest disappointments for me on the year. I was super high on Tyler Higbee. I thought he was going to be really good, but the emergence of Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson has really kind of taken away a lot of the targets I thought he was going to get.
Can you play him this week?
You have to. Like I said, you chase volume or touchdown opportunity. You're not going to get much better touchdown opportunity than playing a Rams tight end.
Yeah, and then, like you said, in an offense that's so prolific this year too, I think you just, no matter what your thoughts are on it, you just have to play them, especially against the Titans secondary.
Yeah, you have to play your Rams receivers. And
Stafford's a top 5 option again this week too, so I think he's going to be in for a big week.
It's one of those offenses where the main pieces, you play them, and you just hope it's their week.
All right. How's Henderson doing then?
He'll be all right. I mean, they still like to run the ball. He's involved in the passing game. They don't really use Sony Michel at all. They don't use any other running back really all that much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all Henderson.
Okay.
80 yards and a touchdown.
So it's pretty vanilla with the Rams. The Rams are going to do what the Rams have been doing up to this point. So let's talk about the other team, which is a little bit more interesting because the whole identity of the Titans is going to have to change this week. So coming in, Adrian Peterson was signed this week. He's 36 years old, future Hall of Famer. Do you think he can get 75 yards and a touchdown this week?
Do I think he can? Yes.
Do you think he will, though?
I don't know. I think it's one of those things you have to wait and see what the usage is going to be. I don't think you could start him or Mick Nichols really this week.
I think Mick Nichols is someone you put on your bench and see what he does.
I think Adrian Peterson is the same thing.
I would start AP this week. I think he's going to get a good amount of targets, somewhere between 10 to 15. And I think he will get into the end zone.
I'm just worried that they try to ease him in. Mm-hmm. He hasn't played football in a while. I know he's been keeping in shape because he's been wanting to play football. So he's been waiting for his opportunity. And he's a similar runner to Derrick Henry. He doesn't have the speed. He's obviously not as strong, but he's still big enough to run through people.
He's an athletic freak, man. I think he's plug and play. I think he's going to get the touches. I really do. I think he's someone that can come right in. He's definitely not going to be Derrick Henry, but I think he's going to be. I would
definitely play him over either one of the Bills running backs.
Yep, definitely.
I would play him over
A.J. Dillon.
No, not AJ Dillon, just because if Aaron Rodgers was playing, then yes, I would say over AJ Dillon. But with Aaron Rodgers being out, I think they run heavy. So they're going to need AJ Dillon.
Uranus Johnson.
Yeah, maybe.
I would definitely play him over Uranus Johnson.
I would prefer to not have to play Adrian Peterson until I see his usage.
I have no doubt. I think he's going to be a running back too this week. I think he's plug and play, and he'll be just fine. Mick Nichols, like I said, is the guy that I put on the bench because you didn't end up getting AP off waivers, and you see if he gets more work than Adrian Peterson because they want to use him in more variety of options. What's more interesting with this team is the wide receiving core. So what are A.J. Brown and Julio Jones going to do now that Ryan Tannehill is probably going to have to put more of the workload on his shoulders?
Yeah, that's one thing I'm waiting to see is I know the coaches come out and said they're not going to change their offensive philosophy, which is one of the reasons I think they went and they got Adrian Peterson, because out of all the people that were available to them without making some big blockbuster trade, out of all the people that were available, Adrian Peterson is the one that's going to be able to keep their running style the most similar.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that his name just Mick Nichols is the passing down guy. So I don't think AP gets a lot of passing work. But man, I wish I could just know.
Okay.
If you told me Adrian Peterson was getting 20 attempts this week, like rushing attempts,
I don't see that happening. Not this early.
But that's what I want to see.
You're not going to see it in his first week.
No, what I mean is I want to see how often he's on the field. What percentage of snaps is he getting compared to Jeremy McNichols? Like, I need to see all these things.
He's the bruiser, I think, at this field, and he's going to be in on first and second down. I really think.
And goal line.
Yeah, definitely.
But what my point was getting to is they said they're not going to change their offensive scheme, but
that might be a smokescreen.
First off, you're playing the Rams, who now have Von Miller and Aaron Donald. Brutal. So running might not be easy anyways. It already wasn't against the Rams. So
you might be playing from behind.
Jalen Ramsey will, be covering one or the other. It's either going to be Julio or AJ Brown.
It'll be AJ Brown. It'll be AJ Brown. He's been dominant lately.
Do I see a scenario where the Rams come and make the Titans look like a bunch of little bitches? Yes. Yes, I do.
I think they'll be competitive for a half. You might see a 35-21 finish.
I think they will be competitive, but I see the pathway for them to just be made to look silly.
I think the Rams could probably do that to anyone right now, though. They're so strong at so many different positions. But, man, when this team folds, which it will eventually because they have no cap space and no draft picks, it's going to be a tough rebuild. But they are going for it, and that's what they should be doing. Is A.J. Brown going to get locked down this week then?
No, because I don't think they've been putting Jalen Ramsey on just one person. I think they've been moving him around, putting him in more strategic areas to make the best plays as possible. In every situation. So I don't think he gets locked down, but unless he breaks a big run, I don't think he has that monster game like you've seen. What was it, last week?
Yeah.
Or the week before, whenever he had 130 yards and a touchdown or whatever it was.
I believe that was the previous week.
Yeah. So I don't think you see a monster game.
All right. And is Julio Jones a good play this week? Because I believe he is, but I wanted to get your perspective on it.
If you have him on your team and he's playing, you have to start him. The upside is Julio
Juicy.
Jones. The upside is Julio Jones.
All right. You have any other thoughts on this game?
Nope.
Tight ends? We already talked about the Rams, but...
We talked about Higbee, and Ferkser, no.
All right, no. Stay away from Ferkser. Yeah, I agree. Tight ends do not play well against the Rams either. So a lot of fantasy value in this game. I understand the Rams got a good defense, but it's a juicy matchup for a team that might be playing behind.
You still got to play your Titans players.
You do. All right, so now I'm going to go on to my wildcard game of the week, and then Ron can get into his. I went with the Cardinals and 49ers, and I think this is going to be a very interesting one because There was rumors early in the week that Kyler Murray may not even play because of his injury. But the coaches have been talking about it, and they said he doesn't even really need to practice to play. So as the week has gone on, I'm getting more confident that Kyler Murray is actually going to play. It's just that it's going to be interesting to see if he can manage that injury very well, which this actually might be a good matchup for him to just sit in the pocket and pass again anyway, because the 49ers have a secondary which I think can kind of be taken apart by him. So maybe they won't need him to run a bit. The most interesting piece of this game, I think, believe it or not, is going to be Rondell Moore. And especially in DFS, I ended up putting out a YouTube short today saying that he's a great value for Draft Kings at 4,200. But listen, AJ Green is out because of COVID, and DeAndre Hopkins is still hobbled from his injury. So I think the explosive Rondell Moore could be a very good value. And I believe in our Megalo Bowl league, he's still on waivers. And I've got to talk about with the guys if we want to pick him up over some other options on our team. So it's definitely interesting. He's sitting there, and I'm thinking about putting in a waiver claim on him tonight. But like I said, we'll get into that off air because I don't want to say if any of them are listening to this what the other options are. But other things that are interesting in this game too is George Kittle might also return. This might be the game where he plays too. So what is that going to do to this offense? Because I think he's going to be effective coming back eventually. But Brandon Ayuk also plays better when George Kittle is in the games too. So what's that going to do for him? Is he a wide receiver 3 and somebody who can play this week? Because Deebo Samuel is hurt a little bit, and while he is a beast, we don't know if he's even going to play this weekend. So that's just some of my thoughts on it. And again, as mentioned earlier on the show, Elijah Mitchell has come up on injury reports lately, so that's something you're going to have to take a look at. And if he doesn't end up playing, I believe Jermichael Hasty is going to be a good value in this game too. As for the Cardinals running backs, I really just am not a fan of the running backs there. I understand that Connor is the one that's getting the goal line work there, but it's just an avoidable situation that I think I'm not a big fan of there. So that's my thoughts on this game, and let's get to Ron's wild card game.
Oh, hold on.
You have some thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Don't start Ayuk. He's been a scrub all year. Don't start him until he actually shows you that he can actually do something. Whether it takes George Kittle being on the field or not, you need to wait.
Anything else?
Deebo Samuel was questionable going into last week's game, and he played like a beast because he is a beast, and he's going to play this week. They are resting him. He's on the I don't need to practice game plan.
The Julio Jones game plan?
Yeah. In regards to the Cardinals, I think Kyler Murray plays. I think Hopkins will play. But I do think they lean on the running game more. So I think Chase Edmonds and James Conner are both fine starts this week.
I think Chase Edmonds I don't like either this week, but I think Chase Edmonds is at least a better potential option there because he's the one that gets the passing work in this offense. And I think they're going to try to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket because of that injury and dump it off to running backs if that's the case. But I think they'll get the explosive players the ball, which in this case I think will be Rondell Moore. So, I mean, Christian Kirk's there too, also explosive. But I think those are the two wide receivers that will have the biggest games this week. Hopkins, I do think will still play, but I think he's going to be more of a diversion this week. So just interesting thoughts on this game.
All right. The game I chose was, and this is not a homer pick, but the Giants and Raiders. The Giants have had, out of all of their losses, I think they have 6 now. 4 of them were by 1 score or less. And it was in the fourth quarter. They ended up losing. I want to see what they do against this Raiders defense that has been playing very well. I also want to see the Raiders, who's the guy now? Because as we all know the Henry Ruggs news, Henry Ruggs was starting to show up more and more as a dependable wide receiver, and he was starting to be even more dependable for fantasy. I want to know who the guy is next.
Fills the void.
I want to see Darren Waller's back now, or should be back. I want to see if his targets go up because of Ruggs being gone. So that's interesting. Can Kadarius Toney should have a good game. Sterling Shepard is out. Barkley's most likely out. I don't know if he would have played, but he's got COVID. They're trying to rush him through, which I don't understand why they're trying to get him all these negative tests if he didn't have a chance to play anyways. So maybe he'll be a surprise active on Sunday. I don't know. Just a lot I want to see in this game. Like, I want to know where both these franchises are headed.
How's Josh Jacobs going to do?
I think he's going to have a good week. The Giants defense is not playing. I don't know. They're not good, but they're not bad. You know what I mean? But
somewhere in the middle.
Josh Jacobs could have a really good game. The Giants will give up some good runs. He'll probably end up with a touchdown. So I want to see.
All right. That's interesting. So with that, let's get into Defensive Dominator. You got that drop for us, Ron?
Sure do.
All right, so my Defensive Dominator team of the week, someone that you can probably get off of waivers, and I believe
it's both of ours.
Yeah, it's probably both of ours, so this will be a quick Dominator. And I told Christian to pick him off this week, which I predicted the Eagles were going to do very well against the Lions last week. Not that Ron thought that was going to happen, but that's another story.
I shoot my shot, all right?
Yeah, well, you definitely shot that wrong.
I missed.
Yeah, you'll shoot your eye out, kid. Anyway, my pick of the week.
I missed my eye. That's how much I missed.
Our pick of the week is the Dolphins over the Texans. Listen, Tyrod Taylor is coming off of injury. Could be potentially good. I don't think he will be, though. So I think you're going to see him be rusty. Teams seem to play very ineffective when they come to Miami. I don't know if it's because they partied the night before in Miami or if it's just the heat in that stadium all the time. Just teams don't play very well there. And let's just get it straight. The Texans' offense is just absolute shit, okay? They're not a good team this year. And the Dolphins, well, not a great defense, don't need to be a great defense. They've got decent corners who only need to cover Cooks. They've got a shoddy running back by committee there. And Tyrod, like I said, is coming off an injury. You send the dogs after him. I think this is going to be a game where you may see some fumbles on his end. He's going to be highly ineffective, and they're going to be a great start for you this week, someone you can get off waivers. So go with the Dolphins defense if they're on waivers.
Xavier Howard will probably be put on Brandon Cooks this whole game. And, you know, the only thing I will say is Tyrod Taylor generally doesn't throw interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
But he is going to try to run around, which could cause him to get sacked a lot. Because if he's trying to run and make plays happen and just can't. Like you said, this is just a smash. It's smash. Smash the Dolphins defense.
And with all this agreement and love, let's get into the DFS lineups of the week. The lightning round. All right, so I will start with my lineup for the week. And starting it off at a $50,000 salary is, mind you guys, this is in DraftKings format too. I've got Josh Allen at 8,200. He's going up against the Jags defense, the 29th ranked defense against quarterbacks. I played him last week, and while he looked sketchy as hell in the first half against Miami, he still finished as, I believe, the QB1 on the that's not true, QB2 or 3, because Mike White was the QB1 on the week. So I am going with Josh Allen at 8,200. With that, I'm staying expensive next with Austin Eckler, who, while the Chargers have been down the last few weeks, was still a focal point of that offense. It scored 24.4 points a game last week. He's also going up against the 27th ranked defense against the Eagles, so I think he's a good play this week. Next, I'm going expensive again. I'm going with Joe Mixon, 7,100. Listen, he's a bow hell for the Bengals. I understand he had a little bit of a disappointing week last week, but he still got the volume, still got in the end zone. So Joe Mixon's going to get the work up against Cleveland. I think they're going to want to keep the Cleveland Browns off the field. So I'm going with Joe Mixon to 7,100 for this week. Next, I'm going with Mr. Boom or Bust, more boom this year than bust, Hollywood Brown. I mean, he's absolutely explosive this week. He's reasonably cheap at $6,000 this week, and I need to start going a little bit cheaper because I've gone expensive and top-heavy. So Hollywood Brown at $6,000. Next, I'm going with someone who we thought was going to be a wide receiver 1 going into the season before he got hurt. Jerry Judy, who's also a decent value at 5,000. Listen, he's 1 week removed from an injury, which typically players get acclimated after a week of injury to, and they're going up against the Cowboys, which typically are high-scoring games too. So I'm very comfortable paying for Judy at $5,000 in my DFS lineup. Next, I'm going with a guy I used in my YouTube short today, Rondell Moore at 4,200. Nice and cheap. DeAndre Hopkins is hobbled. AJ Brown is out with COVID, and they're going to need a boom player, and Rondell Moore will give them that potential. So at 4,200, he's a good dart throw at that cheap of a price. So that's who I'm picking on my third wide receiver option. Next, I'm going with CJ Uzomah at 3,900. Listen, he's a big body, and he's 1 week removed from having 2 touchdowns, and he's getting a lot of work, and we saw that even last week when he was playing the Jets. So I'm going with CJ Uzomah at 3,900. Next, in my flex spot, I'm going to give you your answer as to which one of these Raiders wide receivers are going to be the one getting the workload. It's going to be Hunter Renfrow at 4,800. Listen, he already had 12.8 points a game. It was already a decent DFS option. He's a PPR monster, and with Ruggs gone, 3 to 5 opportunities are going to open up in this offense, so it's going to potentially lead to him getting another target or 2 a week. So I think he's a decent play. He's also a cheap value at 4,800, and I think he's going to have a good week. And then last, just to piss Ron off, I'm going with the Raiders defense against the Giants, 2,900. Listen, the Giants offense, highly inconsistent. Yes, they've got some nice pieces there, especially that young wide receiver you have there, but Saquon Barkley is banged up and not playing right now. Galladay is out. Shepard is out. And your quarterback is going to fumble this week. So I'm going with the Raiders defense to round it out, and that leaves me with 0 money. And that's my lineup of the week. Any thoughts, Ron?
No, it's an all right lineup.
Just all right, huh?
I just want to update the listeners real quick.
You finally won.
I won the past 2 weeks for firsties. Let me get back to it here. So the DFS standings, in last place would be Joe by 100 points on the year under the person who was in first place, which would be this handsome gentleman right here.
Are you sure? I think I moved up the rankings.
Nope. What JJ sent us in our group chat has you in last at 985. And then with me in first at 1,087.
Aren't you happy?
I am very happy. Well, to be fair, there's only been 2 weeks so far that I haven't finished at least second. So it's about time I actually won the last 2 weeks. So the winners lineup here, which is almost guaranteeing that I'm going to lose this week. I went with, for my quarterback, I went with Tua Tagovailoa. He's been playing very well. He's playing the Houston Texans, and he's at 5,800. So it was a nice
good value
with high upside.
I wouldn't play him any other week, but he's playing the Texans, so that's a good pick.
With my running backs, I went Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs. Like I said, I think Josh Jacobs could have a good game against the Giants. I just hope not too good. Aaron Jones at 7,200. I think Green Bay is going to lean heavy on the run with Aaron Rodgers being out. I feel like if the Aaron Rodgers news came earlier in the week, that Aaron Jones's price would be a lot higher than what it is now.
Probably.
For my wide receivers, I went with Jamar Chase. Very solid option. Almost a lock for a touchdown every week, it seems like. And could very easily have a monster game. I had to start going a little bit cheaper after this. I did Kadarius Toney. With Sterling Shepard out, he's just going to be a target monster in that PPR. As long as he can stay in the game, he should do wonderfully.
Wonderfully.
I also have Hunter Renfrow, 4,800, just in case he is the guy. And like you said, he was averaging 12 points a game.
So did you just change that? Because I saw you doing some doodling when I was doing some DFS stuff. So
nope.
That wasn't your change?
Nope, I didn't change anything.
All right.
I was searching for the DFS standings because I wanted to.
Oh, okay. Fair.
For my tight end, I went Dallas Goedert, 4,500. This is his first real game without Zach Ertz. I know last week technically was the first game without Zach Ertz, but they were playing the Lions and didn't need anybody other than the running backs. This week they're playing the Chargers. They're going to have to throw the ball to try to stay competitive in this game. And Zach Ertz loves Zach. Jesus.
You want to try that again?
Hurts.
Go dirt.
Jalen Hurts loves to target his tight ends, and Goedert should have a really good year or week. For my flex, I went Emanuel Sanders. He put up a goose egg last week. I think he has a big bounce back game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then, just like our defensive dominator, I smashed the Dolphins at 3,100. All I'm looking for is maybe a few fumbles, maybe a pick six. I think that defense gives me the best opportunity for all that.
I like your lineup. And before we get out of here, I just need to point this out. Mike White is in the lineup. So, JJ, enjoyed the depression roller coaster with me. It's going to be exciting real early, and then I hope it stays that way. But welcome to the Jets fandom for a night. All right, Ron, where can you find our show?
All right, make sure you go check out our new Twitter page at garbage_timeff. Make sure you check out our YouTube, which if you're watching this, you are. So you already know where it is. And if you're not subscribed, how dare you?
Subscribe.
Hit the subscribe button. Then go over to Apple Podcast and leave us a review and give us a follow over there. And while you're at it, jump over to Spotify. Give us a follow over there. Go listen to us on iHeart. Go listen to us and tune in. Go listen to us anywhere because we're everywhere.
Don't we have a website too?
Everywhere. Yes.
A website.
www.garbagetimeff.com. If you don't remember all the things that I just said, well, guess what? Just remember www.garbagetimeff.com. All of it's over there. And while you're over there, click the little microphone in the bottom right-hand corner. Leave us a voicemail. Or,
it's on the right. It's not in the corner.
If you're having trouble finding a place to leave a review, I'm pretty sure you can leave a review right on the website.
You can. You can also subscribe there too.
You. See? Real simple. Just do the thing. Do the thing that you should be doing already.
If Christian can figure it out, you can figure it out.
That's right. Also, don't forget to check out our manly sister podcast.
Going tonight, I believe.
Garbage Time presents the MMA podcast. Great content over there.
It'll be on YouTube here tonight.
It should be on YouTube tonight.
We'll see.
We'll see. I'm not going to say it definitely will. We'll see what Ryan's got going.
Guys, we're also on Instagram at Garbage Time Fantasy Football. Sorry, I got Jets football on the mind. So again, Garbage Time Fantasy Football on Instagram. You can also leave messages and questions there, and we'll put them on the show too. Ron, do you have anything to say before I go watch this exciting Mike White Jets game?
Go Colts.
Asshole. Good night.
Good night.